What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. All right, Bucks Rockets, and then we're out of here for the day. So the big thing that stood out to me early on in this game was the difference in ball pressure between the two teams. So I'm not going to talk about Milwaukee's perimeter defense in this particular video just because we've done that like 3 times in the last 2 weeks, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. But I wanted to show you guys the juxtaposition of this, and I clipped a bunch of clips that demonstrate this. You can find them in my Twitter feed at _JasonLT. I did it, I think, on Saturday or Sunday morning. I think I did it on Sunday morning. But early on in the game, Houston was applying aggressive and physical ball pressure on Damian Lillard. A lot of Jason Tate and Fred VanVleet being like physical with him. Physical switches too, where like when he's going into a screen, like Jason Tate's like grabbing Dame and almost like physically like throwing him to Fred VanVleet, who like grabs and catches him. They're just being handsy with him. There was a play where Jabari Smith got switched onto him and he's swiping at the basketball and like pushing out at him on 30 feet from the basket. And again, I want to continue to draw a line between shot result and process rather than shot result and luck. And this is a consistent theme that we've talked about on this show, and I don't want to harp on it for too long because we did it earlier today in the Lakers video. But I'm a big believer that that's a big part of what leads a guy like Dame into having a bad shooting night. I wanted to shout out Alperen Sengun. He didn't have a great shooting night against the Bucks. He was 7 for 21 from the field, but he still had 21 points and 11 rebounds. He had just super aggressive and confident in the post. Like Brook Lopez has given him issues finishing around the rim, which is why his shooting percentage was down, but he was going right at him. He was going right at Giannis in the post and giving him buckets. I want to shout out Sengun in the big picture because in his last 8 games, 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists on 55% from the field. He's the best player on that team. One of the better offensive engine bigs that we have in the league right now, which is becoming a very valuable thing with the way that NBA defenses are run. Like so many NBA defenses are geared around the ball handler and chasing and the screen defender being in a position to deal with the ball handler, that having that guy be an offensive threat is just such a huge value. And you're seeing Sengun being the next in a long line of guys who have thrived in that way. Jabari Smith Jr., I thought he was incredible on defense in this game. He had a bunch of good possessions on Dame. He was doubling Giannis and rotating out of it. He was cleaning up the defensive glass. There was this possession where he's guarding Bobby Portis at the top of the key, and he digs down and hard doubles Giannis. Giannis makes the kickout pass. Jabari's such a great athlete. He actually gets back out from a hard double to Giannis and chases Bobby Portis off the line, forces him into a pull-up 15-footer at the foul line, misses. Jabari Smith comes flying back in from out by the three-point line, grabs the defensive rebound, dribbles down the floor, and hits a pull-up 3 in Giannis's face. This was a guy who couldn't dribble when he came out of the draft, and he's just continually massively improving on a month by month basis. I'm super, super excited about how good Jabari Smith Jr. can be, and what a good partner to have alongside Alperen Sengun in that front court. The Rockets, by the way, are now 8th in the standings, and they're 5th in defensive rating for the entire season. The Bucks, they've lost 4 out of 7, 25th in defense over that span, giving up 120 points per 100 possessions. Couple of major issues. We've talked about the point of attack defense, so I don't want to do it again here, but that defense is being causing problems. I want to turn the attention to the offense today with Milwaukee, just because we've talked so much about Milwaukee's defense already. This Dame thing is starting to get weird. We had this 3-game stretch in mid-December where he was hot, right? Because we had the first 22 games of the season. He was pretty mediocre. 22 games, 25 points per game, 42% from the field, 35% from 3. Not bad. Again, Dame gets to the foul line a lot too, which bumps up his true shooting percentage and efficiency, which I mean is a compliment. Like, get it. I may hate the way the game is officiated, but that doesn't mean it's not good for a basketball team. Like a guy that can get to the foul line a lot. Dame gets to the foul line a lot, so it actually increases his impact there in a lot of ways. But after that 22 games, I remember I was telling you guys, like, eventually Dame's going to get his rhythm and this is going to look better. Well, he went 3 games in a row where he averaged 37 points per game, 57% from the field, and 53% from 3, 96% from the line. And it's like, okay, Dame is back, right? Well, 9 games since then, 22 points per game, 39% from the field, and 28% from three. So outside of that 3-game stretch, he just hasn't been very good by his standards. And we're now 34 games of Dame into the season. And the weird thing is I don't think it's his legs. I think it's rhythm. He the other day had a nasty left-handed dunk driving down the lane. Like, Dame looks like his legs are there. I think he just looks a little hesitant to be aggressive with the way that lineup is put together. Like, the Bucks are weird in the sense that, like, I think specifically Brook Lopez and Chris Middleton have a little bit of an outsized opinion of how big their role should be. Like, Giannis is playing at an MVP level. You need him doing all his wrecking ball Giannis stuff. But, like, Dame is the guy you got to get going. And, like, I'd like to see Chris and Brook play more, like, in the flow of the offense and less initiating possessions. Like, there was a possession there in the Rockets game where it was, like, middle of the shot clock, and Brook is, like, taking a spinning one-leg fadeaway, like, 15 feet from the basket. I'm like, what are we even doing here? And, like, Brook's a great basketball player, and I'm not trying to undercut him, but, like, it made more sense for Brook and Chris and Jrue to be aggressive when you didn't have a Dame. You have a Dame now. You traded for Dame. Don't trade for Dame and then don't let Dame do what Dame does. To give you an idea, Dame has not taken 20 shots in a game since Christmas. He's done it only 8 times in 34 games this year. He did it 35 times in 58 games last year. So just in general, how often the ball is in his hands as an opportunity to initiate possessions is at a much lower level this year. And I do think that he's struggling to adjust to that. And one of those things too, like, if we can get to the point where Dame is basically running like a heliocentric your turn, my turn thing with Giannis, I think it's going to end up leading to more opportunities for Brook and for Chris Middleton anyway. And that we have data with Brook in particular that shows that he's just better when he takes shots in the flow. Brook Lopez, unguarded catch and shoot jump shots, 38%, 1.1 points per possession. That's great. Any other type of off the dribble or guarded jump shot, 35 for 118. That's below 30%. And he's also taking almost 3.5 contested or pull-up jump shots per game. So, like, what if instead of that, Brook never took a contested shot except for at the end of a shot clock situation, and you just gave Dame the opportunity to take 2 more pull-up threes and pick and roll? Like, that could be the thing that helps get him into rhythm, especially early in games. And because the gist of the problem is this. You made a trade that sapped you of your best and most versatile perimeter defender and brought back a superstar offensive player. But that offensive player hasn't played nearly as well as he's capable of. So now you're bad at defense and you're good at offense, but not good enough to make up for it, right? Like over this last 7-game stretch where they're 3 and 4, they're 7th in offense and scoring 120 points per 100 possessions. Really good, but not good enough if you're going to be that bad on defense. And that's the thing, because, like, I don't think the Bucks are going to be able to make a significant upgrade in their point of attack defense. I think they'll be able to make a minor upgrade. I think they'll be able to make some sort of minor upgrade that sends Malik Beasley to the bench and puts a better perimeter defender at the 2. But it's only going to be a mediocre upgrade. So I think it's vitally important that this team reaches their offensive ceiling. And the only way they're going to do that is if they get Dame back to closer to where he was last year. With the level Giannis is playing at this year, if you can combine that with Dame from last year, you could do some really special things in this playoff run. But they've got to figure out that balance.